EMF stands for electromagnetic fields. That's what they say electricity puts off. That's not good for us. It's not something that the actual heaters are producing with the infrared. And that's the biggest misconception that I think customers and people looking for saunas don't understand, is that it is not special to infrared saunas in the least.
That really then opened my eyes to just actually what EMFs are, and then basically the differences between EMF levels, good, bad, and basically what causes them.
I am Eric Krolovitz, and I'm the Sweat Fanatic, and this is the Sweat Fanatics podcast, where we talk all things sweating. I love infrared saunas, hot rock saunas, hot yoga, all that, everything in between. So it's one of my favorite things to do in life. So today, we have my good friend Nick back on the podcast, and we're going to talk about EMFs and electromagnetic fields, what they are, how those affect us, and how we protect against them. So, Nick, thanks for coming on. How are you?
I'm doing well. Super excited to be back on here for another fun episode. So we got a pretty exciting topic here today.
I saw you at Lifetime Fitness this morning. How was your workout?
It was good. We met up with Jordan, who we both work out with, and also coworker of ours. So he ran me through a gauntlet this morning, a little circuit workout, little more of a cardio workout than I particularly like. But that's, half the reason that I go to him is he gets me to do exercises and workouts that I wouldn't normally do.
Yeah, that's what a trainer does, right? They get you to think outside the box. They get you to do different exercises, strengthen muscles that you didn't necessarily think about when you're doing the normal bench press, squat, sit-ups, all that type of stuff. I love Jordan. He's my trainer too. He's awesome. And I got a session with him tomorrow morning, so I'm looking forward to it. But I'm also knowing he's going to push me harder and make me a better human, he's going to make me stronger and improve my health. So,
and that's the big thing is I feel like when you're working out consistently, you can fall into kind of a cycle where you do the same workouts for the same number of reps. Obviously, you might be increasing the weight over time, trying to get stronger, but then that really kind of puts your body in just a plateaued level because you're only working the same muscle groups. And like you kind of hinted at, Jordan gets you working those muscles that you wouldn't normally work.
Oh, so for years, I feel like it was a decade of me lifting weights on my own, no science behind it, no program, just go to the gym, lift some weights. And I realized, once I started working out with Jordan, I've neglected the entire backside of my body. So like I was working bench, I did squats, but like my upper back, my shoulders, my lats, glutes, like I just didn't really pay much attention to it. I was thinking biceps, triceps, chest, abs, and then legs. And, I showed you the picture this morning with my upper back exposed, and how the right side of my upper back has a lot more muscle than the left side of my upper back. So,
and you can see it in this picture. So that's where Jordan was, or I know you were talking to Jordan about how, or I kind of actually indicated, like, is that because you do too much yoga? Like those muscles is one, not as, I wouldn't say like you don't want your muscles tight, but is one so loose, used to just that stretching motion where one side gained more muscle and the other side just got way more limber.
Yeah. And, I lift tool bags, backpacks, heavy backpacks all the time. And I always grab it with my right arm and throw it over my shoulder. So I don't know if that has a role in it. I'm right-handed, so I think it's probably common that you might be stronger on your dominant side, but now I'm trying to lift the bag with my left side. I don't know if it's going to do anything at all, but that's just my own brain working. But yeah, so I definitely need to strengthen my upper left side of my back. So,
and like you said, everyone kind of focuses on the main muscle groups, and you forget there's so many different little muscles in the body. And I was up in Minnesota this weekend at our store at the Mall of America, and for whatever reason, my back stiffened up, and it was just one side, and it was only for a day, but for the life of me, I couldn't find out or think about what it was that caused it. Mm-hmm. And the more I thought about it, it probably wasn't something that caused it. It's I wasn't putting in the work as far as strengthening the muscle, making sure the flexibility is there to prevent injuries. So that was on me, a little reflection just on this past weekend when I was sitting there with a sore back.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. I have the same thing. So every once in a while, you get that tweak in your back and you're like, what am I doing here? All right. So today we have an important topic. We're going to cover EMFs, electromagnetic fields, why it's important, why it's a thing in the infrared sauna world. Before getting into saunas and stuff like that, did you know what EMFs were or why they're important?
So I didn't really know anything about EMFs particularly. I will say I knew that electricity was producing some sort of, for lack of a better word, energy, or just there was some causation for obviously when there's an electrical current. Didn't really think anything of it. Obviously, we're in such a technological age where you're surrounded by it at almost all times. So especially
It's everywhere.
yeah.
Like doesn't like if you're in a room with electricity, if you're by appliances, if you're in your car, that's a modern car, like any of that stuff, we are exposed to it everywhere with all the power everywhere, the radio frequencies, cell phones, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth. It's a lot. Right?
100%. And so I kind of always thought, like, obviously just with the way the world's progressing and more technological advances, that's going to be kind of something that I'll only have to worry about it when I have to worry about it. So then obviously coming on board and starting to get involved in just infrared saunas and that whole world, that really then opened my eyes to just actually what EMFs are, and then basically the differences between EMF levels, good, bad, and basically what causes them. And
So what are EMFs, right? So that's the question. EMF stands for electromagnetic fields. That's what they say electricity puts off. That's not good for us. So it's not something that the actual heaters are producing with the infrared. And that's the biggest misconception that I think customers and people looking for saunas don't understand, is that it is not special to infrared saunas in the least. My buddy, Morgan, he sits in his truck and he takes an EMF meter and he puts it right on his steering wheel, and he's got way more EMFs than any sauna is going to ever produce sitting right there.
and that's for if you take one and put it to, I mean, our iPad, our phone that's in our pocket 90% of the time, a dishwasher that's in 90% of all homes, everything that uses electricity. And like you said, it's not just mutually exclusive to infrared. And I think that's a big misconception in the industry. And do you think that's more so related to just people not knowing?
I think where it comes from is infrared is like something that comes from the sun, right? It's radiant heat. You go outside, you feel the sun hitting your body and you feel the heat, but it's not, you can be outside in a cold day, but you're warm because of the radiant infrared heat that the sun is producing. So I think people misconstrue that, like they almost compare it to like ultraviolet radiation, gamma rays, X-rays, all those type of rays that we don't want to be exposed to from the sun, where they think that the heaters in an infrared sauna are producing ultraviolet, gamma, X-rays, microwaves, that type of stuff, which is just not the case. An infrared sauna produces infrared radiant heat, which is only good for us. No harmful side effects ever recorded, no medical contraindications, and they just haven't been able to separate the fact that it's just the good things that come from it. Infrared produces photosynthesis. Without photosynthesis, there would be no life on this planet. We'd be living on this planet of Mars. So we need it for life and for life to grow and thrive and survive. So we got that established. So EMFs come from the electric panel. They are not produced with infrared. Now we want to see how they're measured. So we got some meters here. This is a tri-field meter where you can test EMFs. This is another meter here that is a popular one that people will measure EMFs, EFs in an infrared sauna. Measuring the EMF levels in an infrared sauna, it's kind of tricky, right? Because you have EMFs everywhere. So
And that's for in a room, there's just ambient EMF levels, because if the room has power going to it, there's going to be that ambient level of it.
and I got this tri-field meter on here. I just turned it on, and we're measuring 0.8, 0.9 milligauss sitting right here just in the room. This from the power around us, all the outlets, the electricity, the lights, light switches,
Our microphones
all that,
here, everything.
the microphones. Like that's just what the room environment is. One of the things my best friend Luke is, he's a fanatic with it. Everything that he purchases, he tries to make it low EMF, and then he tries to shield it. And yeah, he doesn't go as far as being tinfoil hat guy, but I mean, he's getting close, and that's okay. I love him. But a lot of times people will go to him and be like, hey, I'm worried about the EMFs. And he'll say like, yeah, me too. Look at my phone. He's got this thing on his phone that actually reduces the EMF levels from his cell phone. And he'll point that out, and then people will start to realize that they're exposed to it everywhere, not just in a sauna that has electricity going to it.
Right. So that's where, if I think people who are worried about it don't really understand the concept yet. And then if people are still genuinely worried about it after they get the concept, they've got a lot bigger issues than just the sauna that's producing the EMF levels. There's, like we were talking about, all the major appliances in everyone's home, the phone that's in the pocket, watches, AirPods, everything that we're around. And so, like,
He won't wear AirPods because he wants the
wire.
old school
Yep.
one. But all right, so the medical research on EMFs, and I've been lucky enough to talk to one of the top experts of electromagnetic fields in the world, and it's the owner of Vitatech out of Virginia. They test medical equipment. You know, what these people do is, you have skyscrapers in New York City and Boston, and you have huge transformer electrical rooms, and they go in there and they find out and figure out ways to protect the condos and the apartments around them from electromagnetic fields. So they deal with big, real EMFs out there in the industry. When I was talking to her, I asked her, I go, what are the medical studies? And she said, well, a lot of the medical studies were from like the 80s and earlier. And the studies have kind of weaned off since then because they weren't producing that much. It was kind of smaller things, like if you have an autoimmune disorder and you're by some big power lines, or you buy a big transformer room, it can kind of increase your autoimmune disorder and some kind of stuff like that. And she said there's not really too much out there. It's not really studied much anymore because they didn't really get much evidence about it. But from what I look at it as a sauna company, a health and wellness sauna company, you're using a sauna to make you feel better and improve your health and hopefully reduce your risk for a lot of these diseases out there. The last thing you want to be doing is exposing yourself to something that could potentially be dangerous when you're trying to improve your health and wellness. And that's where we take a stance as a sauna company, is we don't want to be exposing you to anything that could potentially be harmful to us. So what we do is we make sure it's low EMF, it's low EF, it's all that type of stuff, so that you're not, just take it out of the equation, right?
Right.
One of the cool things that we do as a company is annually we hire third parties to test our saunas for safety, quality, and effectiveness. And I don't know, a month ago, we had Vitatech from Virginia come out and they test the entire sauna, all put together. They test it inside the sauna, outside, all around it, inside out, like any way you can test the sauna, they're testing it for all forms of EMS.
They had 7 different testing points in their results here.
And like, these are the professionals. You want to talk about EMS, you try and talk EMS with these people, it's hard to follow because the knowledge is just huge. So it's pretty impressive. That's what they deal with all day, right?
That is. No, I mean, they have been doing it for over 20 years, definitely leading the industry. And yeah, we were super excited to have them come in and then actually get the results, we were very pleased with that as well too.
One of the things that jumped out to me that she said, she goes, hey, you guys are the only sauna company that we come out and test the entire sauna. Like the sauna is installed. It's not sending a heater to get tested. It's not taking the heater out to get tested. First of all, we know the heater's low EMF because we manufacture low EMF heaters. That's what we do. But you got 15 amps, 20 amps of power going to the power supply of a sauna. So you got the power supply, you got the lights, you got the wiring, you got all that. There's EMS radiating out of that as well. So we want to make sure that everything, when you're sitting in this sauna, you're as safe as possible and you're not exposed to any harmful electromagnetic fields.
100%.
So that's what they do. And then what Good Health Saunas does is we take the report, we post it on the front page of the website with the contact information of that company. So a lot of times, unless the infrared sauna company has a third party test the whole sauna, take that report, put it on the website with the contact information to get a hold of them, like it's up in the air. You don't know if it's low EMF or not.
And that's, I mean, part of the reason why you work for Good Health Saunas is because the safety, the efficiency, the effectiveness, and the measures they take to ensure that for the customers. And they've been doing that for 20 years. So
I'm a paramedic. I was trained to save lives. Do you think I would use or recommend a sauna that could potentially be harmful to somebody? I use the sauna every day of my life, my own sauna. I got the 3-person corner signature series. Like the last thing I would be doing is using a sauna every day that's not good for us or good for me. Like that doesn't make any sense in the least.
right, and we talked about it last episode where the whole reason we're doing it is to help people take that next step in their health and wellness journey. And because there's such a vast amount of information and trying to have people decipher all that information, that's when they can kind of get confused. And so just being able to have a company that does the testing, posts that testing, is about as transparent as any company could possibly be. And especially in today's day and age, that's just hard to find out there.
Exactly.
Are we going to dive into these results here?
Yeah, so let's dive into the results of the testing report from Vitatech.
So I got to pull up the date on it is 10/14/2024.
And so the first thing they do is they're going to measure the ambient EMF levels and electric field levels. So what that means is they're going to test the sauna without the sauna turned on, just to see what the room environment is, because we're not in a shielded environment and it's not some big $1 million laboratory and stuff like that. We got to see what's in the atmosphere around it first, and then we're going to go in, turn the sauna on, and find out what it is inside the sauna with everything turned up to the max. Another thing that it doesn't matter what the temperature of your sauna is as far as EMF levels. First of all, if you measure the sauna without anything turned on, you have electricity going to the top of the power supply, or if you have a sauna where the power supply is under the bench, which I don't like those. I don't like that some companies put the power supply under the bench. It just makes it very hard if you ever have to troubleshoot. You have to take the sauna apart. It doesn't work well. And this sauna here, this is a Good Health Sauna 2-person hybrid. The power supply is in the ceiling, which makes it easy if you were ever to troubleshoot, which you should never have to. But if you did, you have it right in the top. So the electricity is stopping at the power supply without the sauna turned on. You got probably very low voltage going to the control panel so that it can know if you're turning it on or not and save the time. You could preheat it, so it's saving the time if you want to set it to preheat. So you measure the EMF levels inside the sauna with it out on. It's not going to be producing anything. Like it's going to be whatever the room is, right? Then you turn the power button on. Now that shoots electricity to all the heaters and the lights and
all the wiring through all the walls, everywhere inside the sauna. So that's what a lot of people forget is it's not just if you have a heating element on one side of your body, there's wiring that's going all the way around the sauna that has to get the power to the entire unit. So that's where it's not just making sure that if you have it in one spot that's low EMF, it's that the whole unit is low EMF.
Right. Yeah, I've tested hundreds of infrared saunas and traditional saunas with EMFs. And, wherever the power cord gets connected to the heater, you're going to see a little bit of an uptick because that's where that is for the most part. So now you turn the sauna on and now you got electricity going to everything that is supposed to be going to: heaters, lights, all that type of stuff. Now that's when you want to measure the EMF levels. And whatever reading you get, you have to subtract it from the ambient room around you. So, and that's what they did here. The first thing Vitatech did is test the ambient EMF and EF levels in the room environment, in the sauna itself, without it turned on. So we're going to look at the results of the EMF tests from Vitatech, the electric field test from Vitatech. The best standards that we can find out there: 12.5 milligauss or lower is considered low. 5,000 volts per meter or lower is considered low. And looking at the results here, is they speak for themselves. So with the ambient EMF levels anywhere from 1 to 1.5 milligauss, and like the highest that you can find is 1.63. That's, you have to subtract the ambient from the actual levels of the sauna being turned on, and you're like 0.1, 0.2, 0.3. That's what we're talking about. That's what low EMF is. So, and then when you look at the electric fields, the best standard that we can find, most credible, is 5,000 volts per meter. So on average, we're looking at 20 volts per meter, 30, maybe 50. So is that close to 5,000, Nick?
I'm no mathematician, but that is far, far from 5,000. And that, I mean, when you're seeing zeros or anything that's close to it, when you're talking in those thousands of numbers, I mean, you really can't get any lower than that.
That is real low EMF. That is real low EF. And that's about as safe as you can make it. So, and then you also want to look at it as well as like, okay, if I have a low EMF sauna, but the heaters barely produce any heat and you barely sweat and you barely get any health benefits from it, does it really matter?
Yeah.
Well, the point of having a low EMF, like if EMF levels should not be the number one thing that you're thinking about when looking at a sauna. It is important. It's in the top 5. You want to make sure it's a low EMF, but you also want to look at everything else. You want to look at the heaters. You want to look at the air quality. You want to look at heater placement, size of the heaters, the reputation of the company, the warranty, the customer service, the reviews, all that type of stuff. You take those top categories, pile them all together, and then you look at it, and then you make the decision. And if you do all those things and you look at all those categories, combine them together with no VOCs, low EMF, low EF, lifetime warranty, been in business for decades, and best reviews in the industry, then the choice is pretty much clear. You end up with a good house sauna.
And we hear that time and time again. Obviously, we talk to a lot of people who are seeing that variety, lack of a better word, variety of options. Mm-hmm. But then when, like you said, you can break it down to look, everyone is looking for obviously the main 5 things. You're getting it because you want to be safe. You want to make sure it's going to work. You want to make sure you're going to have it for a long time. And you want to make sure that the company is going to be there for you. And like you said, when you actually look at it, compare the two, Good Health Saunas takes the cake 10 out of 10 times.
Every time.
And like you said, some of the high EMF infrared saunas out there can be in the 40s, 50s. So when you're looking at just a number standpoint, no, it's 50 times what, or 25 times what a Good Health Sauna's EMF ratings are and a true low EMF sauna. So when people are experiencing the headaches or some of the side effects that some people may get, it's almost in the numbers. And when you're kind of looking at it, and obviously some people aren't too worried about it when you're thinking of the harmful EMFs versus these, but when you're looking to get something, like you said, investing in your health, you want to get something that you know you're going to benefit from and you know is safe for you.
Yeah, when I think about it, it's like, okay, so you're going to protect yourself from EMFs with the infrared sauna, which is good. I applaud you, and you should do that. but you're not protecting yourself anywhere else in your life.
Right. Right.
So if you're going to get caught up with the EMF levels in an infrared sauna, but you don't care about the fact that, you know, your refrigerator, your stove, your washer, your dryer, or all the lights in your house might be way higher than, you know, anything that you would be exposed to in any infrared sauna, whether it's high or low EMF.
What was that analogy you kind of told me before we started here?
Oh, so it's like a glass of wine. So, right? There's positive benefits to drinking wine as far as the antioxidants, the heart benefits that we've seen out there, but it's still alcohol at the end of the day. So, and what did you say? What did you say about cell phones?
So they say cell phones are harmful EMFs, but everyone has one in their pocket and no one's getting rid of it anytime soon.
Yeah, like I said, I remember before cell phones, when I had to call a girl and ask her on a date, I had to sit in the middle of the living room and grab the phone that's got a wire going to it, and I can't leave there, and I have to ask her out on a date with my whole family around me, and I'm sure her whole family around me, and everybody's listening in, and maybe that was good for me.
Did she say yes?
She did say yes.
There we go.
All right, Nick. So I think we covered the basics of EMFs. We talked about low EMF. What is low EMF? Why are we concerned about it? And how it gets there. And this is a good overview of what's going on with the EMF levels in the industry. So we're going to sign out from here. And I want to say thanks, Nick, for coming on. I appreciate it.
It's a pleasure. I'm always happy to be on.
We got to head to Cleveland tomorrow.
Heck yeah. Excited to be there. It's a mistake by the lake.
Yep. That's a great city. It's an underrated city. I love Cleveland.
It is. It's definitely underrated. The people, super nice people. Midwest. So you get the Midwest nice.
Hardworking.
Yes.
Honest. Courteous people. And I feel for the Cleveland Browns, man.
I was just going to say, too. I mean, they had LeBron, so.
That's true. They did win a championship with the LeBron, so that's awesome. Yeah, good for them. That's good. If you enjoyed this episode, please like, share, and subscribe. Comments. We always love to hear from you, and I always love to hear from you. That helps us out tremendously. Check us out on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, anywhere that you see podcasts. I'm Eric Kralovitz. I'm the host of the Sweat Fanatics podcast, and get out there and sweat.